Well, hello everyone. This is Scott coming to you again from the White House 1600 DC YouTube channel. And I was really looking forward today because we have a very special guest, Adam Dimora. And Adam is a master distributor with ISN Coins, an exciting and fast-growing new company in the precious metals arena. Welcome, Adam.
Hey, thank you very much for having me, Scott. It's a pleasure to be here, man.
Well, it's great to have you on board and to share with our audience the really wonderful things that are happening with your company. I've been seeing it everywhere, and so wanted to bring forth this message. Of course, I am a very strong advocate for the gold standard, for honest money, and many of our viewers are activists working toward things like reforming the monetary system, and really we have listeners all over the world that understand fundamentally that when America sneezes, the rest of the world catches a cold. And so welcome to the call, and where are you joining us from today?
I am currently right now in Northern California, about 20 miles from San Francisco. It's been a beautiful week. I just actually got back from a trip in London where I got to speak in Birmingham for ISN. We held some events out there and met some wonderful people. Got to speak on some things on the economics and trends and meet a lot of coin collectors. That was my favorite part of the trip. And it was
Wonderful.
it was really interesting being around the time that the Olympics were taking place. So I had a great time there. But nonetheless, just got back from my birthday in Las Vegas, and I'm well rested and glad to be home.
It's always there's no place like home. So Adam, there's some troubling things going on in the world. We see a European debt crisis, an economic crisis. Of course, here in the United States, we have a real unemployment rate of about 20%. We see stagnant growth in the economy, where we used to see significant growth each quarter. Really stagnant when inflation is factored in. You are a very knowledgeable person in the realm of gold and silver, precious metals. What are you seeing in the world that has you concerned, and we'll tie that back to the solutions that ISN is offering?
Well, that's a really substantial question, and it's pretty much one of the biggest, one of the most important questions that you can ask. I personally believe wholeheartedly, I'm 36 years old, that it is the absolute lack of education when it comes to monetary policy and how our government actually works regarding how money is created and what money actually is, according to Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution, versus what it is today and after 1971, when Nixon ultimately, finally took us off that gold standard, which I'm sure many of your subscribers are very aware of.
Yes, absolutely.
My passion in what I do here at ISN Coins, ISN Modern Coins is a precious metals company that is located at Indianapolis, Indiana. And ISN Coins is a phenomenal direct sales division that I am the master distributor of that direct sales division. Okay. We have a vision to educate, first and foremost. Our products for people that understand precious metals, if I ask 100 people, and I put a silver eagle in their hand and I ask them, have you ever seen anything like this before? Do you know what this is? 99 people out of 100 can't tell me what an American silver eagle is. And
that's absolutely true.
It is true, but it really shows the lack of monetary or fiscal education.
Right.
Everyone in the United States, in my opinion, should understand what a silver eagle is.
Absolutely. And it's interesting, the whole Silver Eagle program and the development of these national coins came about during Ronald Reagan's administration. That's when the Treasury actually began this process. And it's funny, Adam, if you and I went to a shopping mall and we had a $20 bill and we had a silver eagle, what would most people take?
Oh, undoubtedly they take the $20 bill. They think that something that the eagle was some form of a gimmick or a
Yeah,
scam. They just wouldn't know what it is.
right, absolutely. And there's not that fundamental understanding. You know, when I look at precious metals, it's really economics 101. You have a finite natural resource, you have an expanding worldwide population, and you have an element that's necessary in so many of the devices that we use today. And so often I'm asked, Adam, you know, especially by traders, you know, what's silver going to do today, or what's silver going to do tomorrow? And my response is always, I'm in this for several reasons. One is philosophical, one is ethical, and then finally, you know, I always look at this in a long-term, long horizon view, because from an economics perspective, it is impossible that over the long term we're not going to see a rise in the price of silver. And I know you're not here to predict prices either, but you know, the fundamental intrinsic value, we find that in sacred writings and the scriptures. We find that in cultural identification. We find it in ancient history, right back to the beginning of time. Silver and gold and precious metals have always been used as a way of monetary exchange, and even into the Roman Empire, and how they got into trouble when they started to debase the currency over and against fiat money, as you know, that is completely supported by, I call it gun barrel currency, because it's really supported by the government demanding it for payment of taxes, issuing it, and essentially when the United States went off the gold standard, we basically, Richard Nixon just kind of said, up yours to the world, and that's what we did. And so it worked for a while, but you know, here we find ourselves in the situation of runaway real inflation. You know, the official government inflation rate is one thing, but what people are really feeling out there is another. And so how does ISN address the economic issues of today? Is purchasing these products a good idea?
Well, number one, ISN is a precious metals company. We wholeheartedly believe in the sale of precious metals. We specialize in the sale of certified assets coming out of the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation and the Professional Coin Grading Service. Those are the two world's most prestigious third-party grading services. NGC actually has certified all ancient coins for the Smithsonian Institute. So we're dealing with some very top-notch associations and entities.
Absolutely.
In contrast to the numismatic or the collectible side, we also offer a phenomenal incentive in doing business with us in the Eagle Advantage membership. We offer American Silver Eagle bullion coins to our customers without the gotcha of minimum requirements. In order to get the best price on coins, you know, I can name a few big ones out there, but I'll just leave them unnamed for now. You have to buy 500 ounces of silver before you can get down to a $3 range over spot price. But we don't do that to our customers. So our customers have the ability to purchase wonderful products at great prices, but also have the ability to, within the structure of our direct sales division, get paid to jump into building ISN Modern Coins into a multi-billion-dollar company.
So what you're saying is you've got these terrific products. It's a growing company, and so many people in my audience are entrepreneurial. Of course, people that believe in the free enterprise system. So you're saying if somebody's in the audience and they're looking for additional income streams, they're looking to amass gold and silver for themselves, you're saying that there's an opportunity to benefit from this company. That's really, because the question that I get asked is, yes, I want to prepare. I want to take action in my life. I want to change the way I'm doing things. But how do I do that? Because it seems like people are facing economic challenges more than ever. So there's something going on here. I sense that is very positive for people.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt. I mean, look at the trends, and the beautiful thing about the business that I'm in, and the reason why I'm so passionate and love what I do, studying micro and macroeconomics, looking at trends, taking a look at history, is as long as our federal governments around the world continue to create fiat currencies, those fiat currencies by default will become worth less against anything that's real in the marketplace, whether it be alcohol, whether it be food, wheat, corn, crude oil, it doesn't matter. So it's not so much that people out there should be betting on the dollar. It's just that by default, because we know the policies of the federal government is to create more deficits, those those things that you can buy out there in the marketplace are going to retain their value over a deflating currency. And so what we've done here at ISN is we've created a company that has taken the best of both worlds. The unemployment rate, if you go to shadowstats.com, is up in the 21 to 23% because of the way that they use um, their government statistics, and even with inflation using hedonics and other different types of measures that are really not correct. They're not
Right.
adding in the people that have actually been unemployed for so many years.
Right.
And so what we've done here at ISN is we've created a precious metals company, and we incentivize you to do business with our company by actually paying you income to build our business alongside of us. We're the first company that's ever created a home business at a time where you really should be thinking about opening up a home business.
Absolutely.
Extra streams of income, Scott, are not going to be something that is a luxury. It's going to be a necessity very soon moving into the future. And the Congress has set up a very unique system to where if anyone owns a home business with an intent to make a profit in the US, that you have the ability to also save a lot of money on your taxes. And
Absolutely. I've experienced that, Adam, in my own business that I manage from my house. There is tremendous tax advantage, and I can attest to that. So many things become tax deductible, meals, cell phones. And so, really, if a person, for most people that have a federal tax burden, you literally can fund, start, and amass a silver collection, and do so just with the money you're paying the federal government. I mean, to me, that's a no-brainer. That is just so strong, and
oh, absolutely,
you
absolutely.
know, buy
I,
coins for inventory, and that also becomes a savings vehicle.
that is a very unique situation, but nonetheless, it's very real. And I'm not a tax accountant, so see your tax advisors, but it's very real.
Absolutely.
The Congress is saying we will essentially pay you to own and operate a home-based business in the form of tax refunds. And so many people today are so used to the job mentality, the clock in and clock out, but that is something that is becoming harder and harder and harder, number one, to find. And there's absolutely zero security, even at the high levels of corporate jobs at this point.
Oh,
And so
absolutely.
what we do, what I do as the master distributor here, I buy and I sell precious metals for a living. And in addition, I find others who want to do the same. The more precious metals we sell within the organization, the more precious metals we accumulate within the organization. We actually create a leveraged passive and residual income on the sale of precious metals. I don't think that there's another product out there in home business today that could even touch the logistics, the logic, and the relevance of doing that. for me, it's something that you should be doing anyway. And
Absolutely.
and so I'm very excited to be able to be here on the channel with you, sharing this with you, Scott.
And so there is tremendous forward momentum. There is this going on. Tell me a little bit about the leadership of the company briefly. Um, Obviously, if people are looking for a business like that, they're looking for people of integrity. They're looking for people of wisdom. Are you confident in the leadership of this company?
Oh, absolutely. I am one of the leaders of the company. I'm not an owner, but I have been here since day one, and have really quickly become really close with Matt Barkus, who is the CEO, and Vincent Roy, who is head of marketing and the other owner in the company. And these two gentlemen, Matt Barkus was on the exchange for 13 years in options trading, in the precious metals options trading arena, which is by far more technical than the physical markets. So coming out of that and knowing that industry, and then coming into the numismatic industry for 6 years, Matt Barkus has a phenomenal understanding of precious metals in the industry, in a lot of the things that are going on that aren't so advantageous in that industry. That's really what kind of brought him out, and and why he had a vision to create something that could put physical precious metals in people's hands. There's a lot of people, Scott, that are purchasing silver on the exchange that doesn't even exist, while they're trading 100, 200 times the underlying physical metal.
Right.
And so that is just one trend that you can YouTube that, and it is a huge trend that if people take physical delivery of those actual contracts, I don't like to speculate on price. It's just not
Right.
something I like to do. But you can see where all these trends lead. Where do you
Right.
find a commodity that is 70% cheaper than it was in the 80s, with 500 times the demand on the product with half the supply? It just doesn't make any sense that the price has been at $30 an ounce on average now for the last year. It's absolutely a steal to be purchasing it at that price. In my personal opinion, outside of the company, as a personal investor, as someone who buys precious metal. Um, and ISN also really teaches people about the relevance of the collectible coins industry too, which has just
Yes.
been a phenomenal industry and has seen a lot of great potential there as well.
Well, there's also the enjoyment factor, which you can't really put a price on, of collecting these bullions and numismatics and sharing them with your children and just collecting this, even if you didn't get paid, is a tremendous amount of fun. So people say, find something to do that you love, and then you'll be successful. Well, I don't know anybody who doesn't love collecting, and what a better thing than collecting money. And it is a joy. And for people that want to bring about fundamental change, you're voting with your feet. There has been a movement where people have created local currencies and used them in barter exchange, and there's been this movement toward people looking at alternative pathways, and I see this as another alternative pathway. So Adam, if somebody's listening today and they say to themselves, I'm really interested in this. I'm an entrepreneur. I believe in gold and silver. I believe in the validity of money. I need some tax advantages. They're saying to themselves, there's a lot right here, but can I do this? Is there training? Is there coaching? Is there support? Wherein if a person is already with us and is believing what we believe about honest money and these policies, and they're saying to themselves, could I do this? What would you say to that person?
Well, I would say that, fundamentally, when you have a baby, the baby comes out and it learns how to crawl. You don't really have to teach it to crawl. And then it learns how to walk. You don't really have to teach it how to walk. it's just going to by default learn as it participates within the journey of life. And that's really the same way that I look at my life and how I've grown, within the precious metals industry. It takes it takes pure effort. Um, like anything, every person that listens to my voice that has a job, it takes your effort. It takes
Absolutely.
effort to do anything in this life. But um, the precious metals industry is such a unique industry, and we're in such a unique time to be involved before major trends in the U.S. and around the world. And I think that I would really, there's really no risk to taking part in the
No.
industry, especially in
No.
ISN. I mean, it barely costs anything to even become a distributor for a company. It's less than
Yes.
$150, comes with your first asset, and you're actually participating in a hobby that people have participated in for 6,000 years, going all the way back to who knows? I mean, the Persians, the Romans, the Babylonians, all of them, uh, they collected coins. That's why coin collecting is surnamed the hobby of the kings. And so
Absolutely.
what we do, Scott, is very prestigious. It's very fun. It's very
Yes.
relevant.
It is
And
prestigious. I mean, imagine being at a dinner party and somebody says, "What do you do?" Well, I'm in precious metals. I mean, that is exciting. That feels good. And you know, my own journey with precious metals. My dad was a stockbroker and was talking about this in the '80s, and I actually traveled to Peru to learn about gold mining at the alluvial level. Met with miners, ate with them, broke bread, if you will, and learned all about. Many people in this industry have never held ore in their hands or been really deep into it. And so my journey took me all the way to Peru, and I traveled, thousands of kilometers learning because I feel so passionately about what it is you're doing. I believe what you're doing is fundamentally right. And I think, in business, if we're not always successful, sometimes that's because we don't fundamentally believe. I remember as a kid being sent out with the candles to go sell door to door, and I had some challenges with that. But when your fundamental belief is so strong, it's so natural. It's like, going to a great restaurant, getting a great meal, but then having a great service, and then where you live, beautiful view, right, in the San Francisco Bay Area. And so you automatically begin to share that, and many of our listeners are already sharing the story. They're already sharing the truth. And so when you realize that you have a team of people that are committed to helping you, and so it's not like you're hanging a shingle and then you're all there on your own. You've got people who are successful, and the backing of this leadership that you've talked to, that sounds very strong, and that's why I've brought you to our audience. I've been involved in entrepreneurial pursuits for 10 years. I've traveled all over the world because of it, all the way to Australia and yacht racing there and scuba diving in the Great Barrier Reef. And these things sound, maybe outrageous to some people. Well, that's unusual. Well, when I started, my first business was a firewood business, and I was working at a factory. But I learned principles in that business. In my second business, I got involved in technology. And I marketed that on a home-based business level, and I made hundreds of thousands of dollars, got to travel, drive company cars, and have all the financial success, but it all started with a fundamental belief in the product. And I think that's where too many people run into trouble, is that they fundamentally believe in making money, they fundamentally believe in free enterprise, but maybe the product isn't all there. And what I'm passionate about, and I've been sharing your products on my Facebook, and this video is overlaid right now as people are watching the slideshow as we talk. They're seeing these products, and they are so really wonderful. But don't you agree with me that when you have that fundamental belief in the rightness of your product, if you're a moral person, if you're an ethical person, if you're not, you could probably care less. Sell ice cream to Eskimos, but for most of us, there's got to be that moral component. The Africans have a saying, "My heart sits down," and I can tell you, I am a retail customer of this company. I'm getting involved with this company because my heart sits down. I have peace with it, and I have not personally endorsed very many products or companies to this audience, but I am just blown away by what you guys bring to the table.
Well, Scott, Paul the Apostle said, "Don't only have your own interest in mind, but the interest of others." And I don't care what faith you're from. That is a wonderful way to live your life. And I don't think that there's anyone that could come up to me that has any type of economic background and tell me that by me purchasing silver coins on a monthly basis and turning that into a business in these times is not a very advantageous thing to do. As a matter of fact, Robert Kiyosaki, a multi-billionaire, says that he thinks that silver is the biggest opportunity he's ever seen.
Absolutely.
He owns multiple mines. You can go to YouTube channel Why Silver, Why Gold, Mike Maloney, and
Yep.
he went in front of the United Nations and talked about what's taking place and how we're in a debt-based system. People need to get off of buying the next Xbox, buying the next flat screen TV, buying the next whatever before they purchase assets, because they're losing their family's value. They're losing their family's wealth, and we're headed into a depression. We're not, there are no rainbows and unicorns that are going to be coming back anytime soon, Scott, and people really need to wake up. I don't care if it's Romney or Obama in there. The next president has to be more in debt at the end of his term than at the beginning, or deflation takes place and the complete collapse of the U.S. economy takes place. And so when you are talking about a home-based business that essentially is free when you're running it with an intent to make a profit, right out of the gate, you're getting wonderful tax incentives to own and operate a business. But to be able to say that my products that I am required to buy and I sell are silver and gold coins, and I can get them at phenomenal prices and do what I love to do and talk to people about Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution. I can talk to people about Andrew Jackson. I can talk to them about the movement that Ron Paul has created when he's sitting in front of Chairman Ben Bernanke and he's holding up the coin and he's saying, this is a preservation of value. This is real money. And why can't we have an alternative to your Federal Reserve note? And so, that's personal passion coming out of me. When I talk to 100 people and I put a silver eagle in the hand and maybe one might know what it is, that's alarming, folks. Because why are we walking around and seeing "we buy gold, we buy silver" signs everywhere? Why are we seeing that taking place? And if we are seeing that, shouldn't that pique our interest to at least ask the question? Don't just walk into the shop and hand them $5,000 worth of broken jewelry so that they can give you half of it in cash.
Right.
You just gave them your money.
Right.
And it just takes, when you talk about the backbone of ISN, we've got massive amounts of tools, hundreds of thousands of dollars, tons of software, the best websites, some of the best trainings you can get, and our products just speak for themselves. We're not selling, Scott, consumable products.
Absolutely, and that's so important. The product carries with it so much weight, so much gravitas. It is self-authenticating, if you will. It speaks for itself. And I'm going to touch back on something I said earlier because I think it's so fundamental. I think a person would be wise, maybe not to work with us, but or ISN or a specific hub, but find something entrepreneurial to do, because I can tell you what happens when you become an entrepreneur. The lessons you learn, the way that you improve, the way that you develop, if you carry that into an employment situation. I know that when I owned my second home business, my first one was successful, and then the second one, I went in and I asked the CEO of our company for a raise, and he spent $1 million to give everyone that worked at that company a raise. How do you get that boldness? You get that boldness when you change as a person. And I think one of the most legitimate things and most exciting things for a person is if you're in a job, make it more secure by learning the principles of entrepreneurialism, because even if you have a job, you are an entrepreneur. You have a service. The day they stop buying, you're out of a job. And so whether you're underemployed, employed at the top of the game, or you're unemployed, you have to be in a mode of continuous improvement. You have to be entrepreneurial about what you do. And it is just foolish for anybody who believes in the principles that we do, and 99% of the people that are listening to this channel believe in free markets, and men died to give you this free market. It's not as free as it used to be, but, for heaven's sake, grab the bull by the horns and seize the opportunity that you've been given with whatever modality that is.
Well, that's right, and the whole adage of go to college and get a good job, it's really been a laboratory test over the last 60, 70 years. It just really wasn't that way in the beginning. It was an agrarian economy. Everyone had their own businesses, right, and created their own economies. And today we're in such a gimme society, kind of a handout society. We're really relying on somebody else to provide for us. But right. Number one, I will say that you better fire your job before your job fires you. And I'm only saying that because there's no job security out there anymore. I have one of my sisters is a top level executive in Xerox Corporation. They're outsourcing everything to India just so that they could stay afloat and from going into bankruptcy. So there's a lot of things to be said about owning your own company, owning your own business, and why in the world would you not want multiple income streams? What if something happens to the one that you have now? And number two, what I'd like to say is, I read a wonderful book by David Bach called The Automatic Millionaire. And in that book, one of his theories, he calls it the latte factor. And what that simply says is that if you buy a latte every day, and he equates that to a $5 bill, 30 right. days a month, that's $1,800 a year. And if you took that same $1,800 over the next 35 years at 10% interest rate, that turned into $1.2 million. Oh,
okay? That is incredible.
Okay, and so people say that they can't save, they can't partake in whatever it is that they're doing, but everyone spends that $5 a day that can automatically make them a millionaire. Okay, so here's the kicker.
Right. That is so true.
What do you put that $5 a day into?
Right.
Well, what he says is you put it into things that have the ability to preserve wealth and potentially increase in value over time. If you go on an SLV chart, and I'm just specifically talking about SLV, I'm talking about silver, over the last 10 years, you've seen a 500% return, not a 10%.
Well, I know, Adam, I was buying silver when it was $4 and $5 an ounce for my children. I put their entire, all of their money into that, and I've experienced that growth, and with my own eyes, and it's been wonderful. And
and past performance never guarantees future results.
All right, absolutely.
The beautiful thing about that is that we can look at the trends.
Well, true. And beyond that, as compared to an equity, a stock can go to zero. Facebook's on its way. It has more intrinsic value than that. But I'm saying a stock like Enron can go to zero. What we do know economically is silver and gold can never go to zero because they possess intrinsic value in and of themselves.
If silver stopped being mined every year, our way of life would literally stop.
Oh, absolutely.
You're looking at, by 2013, 120 million ounces of above ground physical silver needed to be mined. just to supply 1 year of global solar demand. There was over 40 million ounces of silver that needed to be at the United States Mint just to supply the demand on American Silver Eagles last year alone, while they can barely keep up with 900 million ounces of above ground silver being mined every year. You're talking about a literal metal that many universities have said will be the first extinct element on the planet, and you're able to actually purchase it right now for around $30 an ounce. It's just mind-boggling, and people have absolutely no clue about this and what's actually taking place industry-wide alone. And then again, when you go into the fact that the CME and the central banks and the COMEX are literally selling silver 100, 300 times the underlying physical metal in shorts and futures contracts, it's a perfect storm that is ahead. And
that's awesome.
That is my personal outlook. Looking at the trends, you can go to gada.org, and you can go to futuremoneytrends.com. You can go to silver-investor.com. All of these are wonderful patriots that have put out tons of information, shadowstats.com. But the truth of the matter is if you're going to be in a home-based business, sell a product that can change people's lives.
Absolutely.
And buy a product that can change your own life.
Absolutely.
It's one thing for me to sell somebody the next great juice or pill or cosmetic product or to switch their cell phone. Here, we simply acquire assets every month. And that is the beauty of ISN. It's never been done before, Scott.
So powerful. Well, we're getting to the end of our time, and I want to ask, right below this video and even on the screen in the annotation, you're going to see a link to a website, and so if you'd like to learn more, you can also message me through this channel. You'll be able to learn more. But Adam, as we're signing off and getting to the end of our time together here today, give us a final word, a call to action. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day. I am totally in agreement with you about what you said today, and I'm excited about the products that you're bringing to market. People can get information, as I said, right below this video. If you're viewing it on the channel, you have to click on the actual video, take it to a video player page because it may not be visible, but also at the bottom of the channel on the right hand side you'll see a link marked silver to learn more. Adam, just give us that call to action or a final word before we say goodbye today, and thank you so much for joining us here. We appreciate your expertise and you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us.
Oh, Scott, it's been my pleasure. And I would just say, really, if you do hear the message that we were talking about, take a look at the links. But the most important thing is to investigate into precious metals. Take a look at the trends that are taking place. There's so much information out there on YouTube. You're talking about training. You could literally get trained all by yourself just by spending an hour a day on YouTube. Literally, you could do that.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, the most important thing is becoming self-aware about the times that we live in.
Yep.
The times that we live in, Scott, are very important times. And people should not be sleeping at the helm of their lives right now. They should be becoming more self-aware. And so take a look at ISN Coins for anybody who is entrepreneurial. We are looking for professionals to build our precious metals company with us. And we do this with integrity and with honesty. So, Scott, thank you very much for the time.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a link right below the video to a specific page where you can learn more. Thank you so much, Adam. Again, appreciate you, and can we hear from you again?
Oh, absolutely. And let me just do one plug, if I will, before you go. Right now, until the end of September, you can actually become a distributor for only $119. That's the purchase of an MS-70 American Silver Eagle asset. And we have phenomenal incentives like Mercedes-Benz bonus and up to actually $1 million in bonuses. So
Wow.
yeah, so you definitely want to take a look at that. And these aren't huge qualifications. This is a real opportunity. Everyone needs extra income. Everyone needs tax savings. Everyone should be buying precious metals anyway. It's just a great, great opportunity to take advantage of.
Thank you, Adam. Bye
It's my
bye.
pleasure, Scott. God bless you. And I
He
absolutely would
does.
love to come back anytime. Give me a call.
Thank you so much. Goodbye.